Internet, hello and welcome to a very special Patreon review for the great patron saint of trying to show me that I do like more comedies than I think I do, AJ Lancaster. AJ is one of my oldest patrons, and he is of the tier where he recommends things I consume and then review them as I were for any network I work for. Say it's Collider, Screen Junkies, Nerdist, whoever I'm freelancing for. I put that much diligence into reviewing it as I would for a studio, and that is what I do for the patron at this tier, which is in this case AJ Lancaster, who actually got me to start watching Ted Lasso last year with season 1. Now, this season, season 1, is amongst my most surprising, out of nowhere, this is better than I heard, and I heard only like it was made of angel wings. This show has been very hyped. This show has been well regarded from people I respect, and still it was better than I'd heard. So season 2 had quite the lofty expectations, and so I did something that I haven't done ever. I got an entire streaming service for just one show. For season 2 was like, screw it, I'm gonna get Apple TV and I'm gonna watch it week to week and I'm just gonna be happy. And because of my love of Ted Lasso, I fell madly in love with Mythic Quest, which is another new favorite show. It's not as good as Ted Lasso, because nothing is, but like it's probably in my top 10 current shows, and Ted Lasso is my number 1. Ted Lasso is my favorite show on TV. Ted Lasso is mind-blowingly good. All of the therapy of drama I get from This Is Us, I get the therapy of comedy of Ted Lasso. These are my two cornerstones of weekly entertainment. Yes, including Marvel. Yes, including any other thing I've read, watched, consumed. Ted Lasso is a fixture of my life, and that's thanks to AJ Lancaster. So he gets all the love for this week's episode, because we're going to be doing a 3-part season 2, because these are week to week. We did season 1 as a binge. It was only 10 episodes. This is season 2, and there's 12 episodes. So we're doing 2 hours at a time, 4 hours, and we're going to do 3 of these, breaking all the way through episode 12 in the coming weeks. So expect another one of these in 4 weeks, and then wrapping it up in another 4 weeks, and then AJ and I are going to talk about maybe... He'd mentioned another show I might like, the Joseph Gordon-Levitt's new show. I'm going to keep up on the Apple TV. I do see a thing in the chat. Mr. Michael McCarsell, friend of the show, friend of the me, fellow patron, good man. Michael McCarsell says, I don't have Apple TV and don't want to pay for this service just for one show, but I'm so glad that this show brings so much joy to so many people. Now, I totally get that. But there is a 7-day free trial, Michael, and when the show ends, or if you just want to watch season 1, you can do a 7-day free trial and watch it all and then decide if you want to, or you can pay $5 and enjoy the hell out of some content and then cancel. You got a lot of options. I respect your decision for not paying for one show. This was the one time I did it, and I was not disappointed. It is truly incredible. Could not recommend it more. So if you're ever going to do it for a show, $5, it's worth it for the happiness. In my opinion, just my opinion, I think it's well worth it. Hitman Hudson in the chat just finished episode 3. Hell yeah. Stick around through 3 and then get out of here, because I'm going to spoil every episode. We're going to do full spoilers in the notes. Hitman Hudson also says, Dickinson, haven't started it yet. That was my plan after Mythic Quest. Just finished Mythic Quest. Dickinson next, and then whatever rolls out next. But Dickinson is the plan for the next one. He also says, funny thing is, Coy is a lot like Ted Lasso. The greatest compliment a man can receive. Because that man is pure good. Just goodness. I appreciate you very much, Hitman Hudson. I try to be a little more like Ted Lasso every day. All right, let's get to it. Dude, do the 1 week thing, Michael. Do the 1 week thing. Do the 1 week, watch a couple episodes. You let me know what you think. You let me know, because I think you're going to love it, man. Okay, but do give it like 2-3 episodes, because it's so... In fact, this is part of the review. The show is so not cynical, it actually is disorienting. I went to the For Your Consideration Season 2 Emmy party. They played the first 2 episodes of Season 2 while talking about the Emmys. 23 Emmy nominations for Season 1. And there was a Q&A after. We talked about all sorts of the writing process, the acting process, what the show means to the cast, how the show's affected the cast's real lives. It was a really fascinating Q&A, as well as the first 2 episodes. So I watched these first 2 episodes over a month ago, and then I had to wait for them to air, and then I had to wait for new episodes. It's been agonizing, because I love me some Ted Lasso. But one of the most fascinating things I learned in the Q&A was that they will write all the jokes they'd normally write for any show, but then they'll pluck out anything cynical. They'll take away anything sarcastic, anything sardonic, anything that's got any barbs to it. They remove the sarcasm, because it's so easy to be sarcastic in modern comedy. It's so easy that those are the more generally accepted comedic jokes on sitcoms. It's all gone. So I do recommend people to give it a couple episodes because at first it's really disorienting. It's like nothing else on TV. It is pure good. It is pure wholesome. And it's like I laugh out loud at references more than any other show. There's so many aw shucks moments. There's more awes than any other show. It makes you want to cry. It makes you laugh. It just hits you in the feels. And it's so sincere in its heart. It's so powerful in its boundless love. And it just cares so much. The show just fucking cares. I could not love this show more. So I'd give it a couple episodes because it definitely is disorienting. I'm going to be diving into my notes for season 2, which do have spoilers. But before I do that, last bit of non-spoiler broad thoughts. Season 2 is definitely a different step than season 1. Certain characters have changed, evolved. Certain elements are a little disorienting that I'm sure they're going to pay off. Like Nate is a fantastic character from season 1. He's a little off season 2 for me, and I know why they're doing it. He's a different purpose in the show, but I'm really excited for that thing to land. Whereas characters that I love season 1, I love even more now. Roy Kent is probably my favorite character on the show. I loved him season 1. Season 2, he's impossibly perfect. I love Juno Temple's character even more this season. I'm really impressed with how they've managed to keep Ted from being annoying or cloying. It's when something's that sweet, something's as sweet as Ted Lasso, it's hard to not get the sugar cloying. It's hard to not be overwhelmed by the sugar. They manage. Season 2 just mixes it up. It's incredible. This season, I even the things I'm not 100% on, I know where they're going with it, so I'm totally cool with it. So far, season 1 is an A+. Season 2 is an A, still exceptional, and obviously where these buttons land, we're going to find out. I loved the Christmas episode of episode 4, loved that each episode feels different, and like it's all an overarching thing, but we're at a climax point. There's a bit of a cliffhanger episode 3. Episode 4 is a bottle episode. We're going to get back to it. Very curious about that. It's a very big season. They definitely got a bigger audience, and I'm really curious how it goes. So those are my non-spoiler notes. I'm now going to get into the spoilers, note by note, episode by episode, reading through what I was writing down as I was watching it. It's very hard to write and enjoy the show, so I have to pause it, write, go back to laughing. That way I'm actually in the show. But AJ, I love this show, man. Very much appreciate you showing me all about it. And I'm going to read the notes after I check the live chat right here. Think about it, Michael McCarcel. I need to watch this show. I haven't gotten a chance yet. Oh, I have no doubt that I'll adore it. I just need to wait until season 2 ends, then crank through it. Respect. 8 weeks, because they're on episode 4 right now. It's a 12-episode show, if that helps. Also, check out Mythic Quest while you're on that week. Trust me. Let's see. With how much Coy loves this show, I know I need to watch it. I've never disagreed with him on a show. That means a lot. I appreciate you. You're going to love it. Michael, Bill Lawrence has been on the Scrubs podcast plenty of times, and they've talked at length about how much they love making Ted Lasso and how important it was to make this show so wholesome. I literally look at the description of the show, hashtag Ted Lasso, hashtag Apple TV, hashtag wholesome. Literally made it the third hashtag because it's that wholesome. All right, let's get into some notes, you lovelies. Hopefully AJ is in here or gets in here soon. I know he was driving. All right, season 2, episode 1, ready to be back in, diving right in, high stakes. Danny Rojas, 7 straight ties, love that. So, first season, Ted didn't want a tie. He doesn't believe in ties. Second season, karmic backlash, 7 ties in a row. Bunch of fuzzy, funny visual jokes with like a bunch of ties. They're stuck in ties. They're actually tied for the most ties, and they're tied there. Tied the record for ties. I sure can, but that's because I'm a right brain dominant with a knack for make believe. I love this writing so much. Little characters get these great zinger one-liners that just roll off the tongue, except for when I'm trying to do it after talking for too long. So much good writing, so much intellectual writing. There's so much smart writing in this show. It really makes you think and enjoy and process. Immediately remember why you love every character. Cross your finger, make a wish. No, not Earl the Grey. What a great name for a dog. Earl the Grey. It's a greyhound named Earl. Earl, very British, very regal. Earl the Grey, the mascot. Genius all around. Danny Rojas, you feel so bad for Danny. You feel bad for the dog. You feel bad for the team. Something happens, very intense. That was my 3rd time seeing that moment, and it hurts every time. I watched this episode a 3rd time because I watched it once way back in the day, didn't want to write notes off of memory, watched it again with a friend showing her the show, and then I watched it the 3rd time for the notes, and it still hurt after 3 viewings, that moment. What a season opener. Did we really make Michael Jordan cry? The balance of pop culture references and heart is astounding. They're referencing a meme, a very popular meme on Twitter, and they're using it in context of the show, and it made me so happy. The Ted charm, Trent Krim, the independent Trent Krim, one of my favorite characters in season 1, gets some growth in this one, and he has a great moment at the top of the show. This story is beautiful, and it's the Ted way. Things in our life that help us get to the next. I love Ted's story about the dog, and things in our life that help us get to the next. Some things are meant to stay with us. Some things are meant to just pass by us. Some things are meant to be a guide. Some things are meant to just grow us. I love the story about the dog. I love the help us get us to the next thing so much. Danny Rojas. I wrote Danny Rojas in all caps like 10 times this episode because he is genius and we see him suffering. Good God, Danny Rojas. I think I saw AJ Lancaster pop in. Welcome, AJ. He's not rude, just Dutch. Great new character type in the show. We've got a lot of wholesome, we've got a lot of charm. Now we've got a guy that's very literal. He's not sarcastic, he's just literal. That allows for a different type of comedy while still not breaking their sarcasm rule. I like the Dutch guy. I like the service he pervs. I like the service he... No, what was I going to say? Service he pervs? Most pervs. Proves? Purpose he serves. I totally messed those words up. Purpose he serves in this show. Buckingham Palace, Barkingham Palace. This show is genius. Barkingham Palace is such a good name for a dog pound over there. The Diane Sawyer moment that turned into a reality. He makes a joke about asking Diane Sawyer out. Diane Sawyer heard about this, retweeted it. It became an in-universe fun joke made real. Ted Lasso is one of the best places to follow anything on Twitter. I follow Ted Lasso on Twitter. Became a really solid joke, including Diane Sawyer in real life. Solid work, accidentally great marketing. Girl talk begins. Love Ted Lasso trying to girl talk, but I love the girls tucked away. I love how important the female dynamics are in the show. The women are capable. The women are smart. The women aren't just talking about men. In this scene, girl talk they are, but they're their own fully formed characters that exist outside of the men. The women in the show are so formed and smart, it makes you realize how poorly women are written on other shows. They're so complete as characters, it makes you realize a lot of shows don't write their women well. So really impressed with the female dynamics at the top of the show. I love Juno Temple interacting with, I forget her name because I'm a monster, but very, very good work. I am too excited for the Ted Roy reunion. It still hasn't happened yet as of episode 4. I'm waiting for it, for Ted and Roy to reunite. Roy Kent, little girl coach. I couldn't love this more. Okay, Roy Kent is coaching little girls soccer. It is delightful. It is precious. It is as swear-laden as you might expect. It is glorious. The bad words tab and monologue, the double dip. Remember how much we love him and endear us to the new little girl. Okay, so there's a bad words tab that this little girl is keeping of her uncle, Roy Kent, and it immediately endears you to the little girl. It also reminds you how much you love Roy Kent. It's also a great use of writing and language. It does everything the show does well in this one little 2-minute blurb that grows things and is incredible. Big ol' fan of that section. I love how the dialogue is just above reality. Characters are smart and unique to themselves, and then it walks that Maisel Sorkin line. So the dialogue is almost not real. The dialogue is almost unbelievable, but it's so endearing and honest. You don't get distracted like you do with Sorkin sometimes. It walks that Maisel Sorkin, Amy Sherman Palladino line while staying in our end of reality, while still being just heightened enough that it feels like, oh my God, everyone's so smart and quippy and clever, and I love it so much. The writing is perfect. This season it's even more improved. I love that yoga moms are the opposite of soccer girls. Those are the two ends that Roy are drawn to. Roy, hyper-masculine, drawn to female energy. He feels comfortable and not judged around soccer girls that aren't thinking about his soccer career. Yoga moms that don't care that he is Roy Kent. I love these are the places he feels comfortable. Genius writing. Football is Death is an amazing cartoon splatter moment, and poor Danny Rojas. Stamos, this whole speech about girl talk is amazing. Ted Lasso with the diatribes. Like, someone needs to write these down and frame them. I love the dichotomy of he's nice, is there a problem here? So the guy she's seeing is just fine, but that's the problem, he's just fine. And Roy's speech of you deserve the world, because it builds both characters at once. She learns a lesson. Roy grows as a character. Juno sees that she needs to be more, less passive and invest. And that's a great triple dynamic. They all grew as characters in that one moment. Someone to set your world on fire is also what everyone should look for in love. Someone that should just empower you and make you feel alive. And that's what Roy is saying. She demands. That's what she needs. He had a little tiny ponytail in Magnolia 2, Coach. I wrote down the Tom Cruise line because I laughed out loud at it both times I watched it. He did have a little tiny ponytail in both Last Samurai and Magnolia. Great pop culture reference, great use of it. I want this team to write a Spider-Man movie. I want this team because the heart, the comedy, the wholesomeness, but I want it like a running, I literally want this team on Spider-Man. I want a show of like just Peter. I want this so bad. Every scene is a masterclass in writing and physical and verbal comedy, even timing, pacing, escalating in the drinks. Him reaching for drinks, that way that escalates. It's like this beautiful like UCB skit that's just perfectly paced. Setting up the Gem Blossoms joke with more jokes, and then the Gem Blossoms song playing later, landing that Gem Blossom joke. Very tall order, very good work. Roy Kent, he's fine, that's it. Struck by fucking lightning. I still get chills the third time I watched it. Again, I watched this episode 3 times. Saying that she deserves to be struck by fucking lightning. Being fine isn't enough. I got chills. I love that little speech. Sorry, I jumped around a little bit, but that's where we are now. Immediately puts all in place. Can't tell if super affable or stern. Great new character. The therapist is immediately stern, immediately interesting, immediately what the show needs. A juice, a flash of lightning. I love the doctor. Higgins' office decision exactly exemplifies his character. So Higgins being like, oh no, you can have my office. That's exactly who he is, but it grows his character. It's a really fun visual joke. I love the cup spilling over. All of that really just works. Gin Blossom's joke for character growth followed by perfect diatribe about dating. Quote, intimacy is leaving yourself open to be attacked. That is a genius perspective. It's very dark, but that is what dating is. It's opening yourself up to wounds with strangers. It's a very big deal. Again, great writing. Danny Rojas saved, solved, worked on through therapy, comes back. Football is now life because football is also death, and football is also football. Love the growing tension dichotomy between Dr. Sharon and Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso uses comedy as a way to cope. He also self-diagnoses, which they address later on in episode 2. But I love the growing dichotomy between these two characters. I love this episode. It has a full 3-act structure, multiple arcs, multiple characters starting new arc, and a denouement. Yoga Moms is the denouement. And there's Jamie Tart on a sex show, reality show. And I wrote, and so the show that is therapy becomes therapy. That's how you do a season 2, episode 1. Let me check on the chat before we go on to episode 2. Okay. What's up, y'all? Welcome, AJ. Coy has thanked you 5 times already. That's true. Provides Kelly Jones is my favorite character. Oh, Keely Jones is incredible. Juno Temple is so very good. That part made me bawl. You deserve like you've been struck by fucking lightning. My every time. Chills. Such good work. Roy Kent. What's up, people? What up, PLD? Literally every character is my favorite character just when I decide someone else pops up on screen. Yeah, I think Roy Kent and then every other character is tied for second, and that is high praise. I just love my boy Roy Kent, and then everyone else tied for second, even though I feel the most like a Ted Lasso. All right. Next episode, season 2, episode 2. The loser, Jamie Tart. Haha, I love how weirdly likable Jamie Tart stays while being an absolute shit. Somehow the actor managed to be so charming that he's doing the worst shit and he is a monster, somehow still likable. Very impressive writing and acting. What a beautiful way to handle exposition. His embarrassment live to push the plot along. We catch up on so much what happened in the sport. We find out so much about Jamie Tart, all while live on a show. So we experience his embarrassment. We're getting emotion. We're getting plot development. Again, genius. Old Blue Eyes might have skewed mercurial. Great way to summarize the entire Blue Eyes experience of Sinatra and his lovers. I love that example. Again, pop culture used to further the plot. My exact shit. Ted's tradition is hilarious. Angry Nate is certainly a choice. This is the thing I was talking about. I don't love Angry Nate. I know it's going to pay off later. I know it's a thing. But it definitely throws off how I feel about Nate, the character, right now. I know it's going to work for me, but that's why the show is not quite at the level it was the first season, because Angry Nate doesn't quite land for me. I'm excited for the moment that it does, and I'm sure it will. I know why it's there. I'm looking forward to the payoff. Coach Beard, the permanent delight. Coach Beard, what a great character. I love his relationship with Janet, the relationship this season. We never meet his ladies. I love his little, droll zingers. Coach Beard is a goddamn delight. Can't wait to see Ted and Roy reunion. That's the second time I've written that. I didn't realize I repeated myself. I really want the Ted Roy reunion. It's going to be a moment. The enigma that is Dr. Sharon grows. She is fascinating. Ted, polite, consult me, don't consult me is perfect. At one point, Higgins does something, hires the doctor without asking Ted's permission, and Ted loses his mind, but he does it in the most Ted Lasso way. He's like, don't do that. No, you were right to do that. Don't do that. And it's the beautiful dichotomy of Ted Lasso in one scene. Again, you can take 2 minutes of the show at a time. Masterclass in comedy and writing. Just perfect work. Douchey agent and next phase of Jamie Tart. You weren't even speaking Spanish. I love how dumb Jamie Tart can be, but it really works in universe, and I love that it never feels like they're just writing for dumb. He's just very not worldly, and they use that in really creative ways, like you weren't even speaking Spanish. Such a dumb thing to say, such a Jamie Tart thing to say. Doesn't eat sugar, and the astute metaphor about pretending to not like things we enjoy, depriving ourselves of things we enjoy instead of adjusting our relationship to them. This is, like, in a show of great messages, this is one of the best ones. There's a metaphor about sugar, and he's therapizing the therapist, explaining, like, instead of adjusting our relationship to the thing, I just pretend I don't enjoy it. That is something everyone does. That is something I'm working on. Instead of actually doing the work and actually doing the processing, I'm just like, nope, I don't like that, even if I do. Cookie dough, big example for me. But even broader, certain things in the world, like certain relationships, certain elements of my life, it's really important to look at your relationships with things instead of just black and white writing them off or keeping them. This is a beautiful, beautiful micro to the macro that is the world. Let's see. Higgins spilling pen running joke really works for me. I love how psychoanalyzing yourself is addressed. Being alone and pushing people away, and now they're stuck alone. That is, of course, the big problem with our female lead, the one that owns the whole soccer club. It is quite a literal metaphor, and they both do it. Both her and Ted do psychoanalyze themselves and do cause that problem, and it is very interesting to see a show call itself out, because that is something a lot of people think they don't need to go to therapy. It's about the conversation. It's not about just like a yes-no. It's not a solution. It's a process, and these characters know that, but they don't want to accept that, and that's beautiful writing. Best dressed, stupid, you're all wearing the same thing. I love Coach Roy Kent. There's a best dress award in this box of awards for little girls, and then they cut back and all the girls are dressed the same because it's a uniform. Brilliant. But then he apologizes and he makes sure they know that they can come back if they want it. Like, the love he feels for this team is beautiful and apparent, while also he's not someone that should be around children. It's perfect. He's like just this raging, foul-mouthed titan of awesome. But he shouldn't be coaching children, but that's why he's the best to coach children. Fucking brain development is my favorite episode. Is my favorite line in this episode. A girl took a header, used her head in soccer, but they didn't get the point because fucking brain development. He wants the game. The little girls can deal with their shit, but he does love them. It's just beautiful writing. The wanking scene and her loving his vulnerability, the layers there. His vulnerability being the thing that draws her to him. Her being drawn to Jamie Tart and unavailable men, him being available but not available. There's so much in character development in that being her turn on. His embarrassment, how it's utilized later in the episode. Chef's kiss. Just great work. The anti-shaming is perfect. Also, he doesn't shame her at all. He doesn't shame her for like masturbating. He doesn't shame her for finding that arousing. He just wants to understand. He wants to be connected to her. Beautiful. Beautiful. That's a good relationship. The tete-a-tete, I love these two love. They're back and forth and their love is so powerful. Army Man returns. The little army man is such a beautiful moment from the first episode, and it's so well used here with Jamie trying to talk to Ted. Awesome, best, pretty good, okay, it's all shit. That's what Jamie goes through. He says, things are awesome, things are the best, things are pretty good, things are okay, it's all shit, Ted. Again, the delivery makes that writing even better than it already is. It's already good writing, the delivery is exceptional, and then Ted saying, that's a real roller coaster there, I was glad I went in that with you. These little things on the page would not sing nearly as well if these characters weren't so fleshed out, if they weren't so interesting, we didn't care so much about them. The writing, good. Acting, elevates. Genius show. Bono's dad was a real piece of work, but so is Joshua Tree. The ability to use pop culture to further plot, this show may do better than any other. That's why I want these people to write Spider-Man. That's what Spider-Man does, that's what Deadpool does, but they're wholesome, unlike Deadpool. There's just so much good plot and story pushed through pop culture, it's insane. The therapist getting closer is such a good visual joke. It's his paranoia. It's his feeling like watched and impressed, but very visually, and also she's doing it on purpose. Sam, I love Sam this season, and we really get to see him in the second episode growing. Bernie Mac uses curse words like Van Gogh uses yellow. Another great example, pop culture used for the plot. Ted Lasso's Twitter mustache is a real thing you can follow. It's referenced on the show. Well, now I feel awkward. I bet Sam storming off the mound and basically like being a dick when they're not hiring Jamie Tart, and him saying, oh, now I feel awkward. I bet real dialogue, feels authentic, feels like something that actually happened, and Ted's choice to be the bad cop in this situation, and after, well, I'll get to that point. TV pundit Roy Kent is a delight. I love where the character's going this season. How the fuck does he know I love white orchids? Again, laughed out loud. How the fuck does he know I like white orchids? I love that fucking Roy Kent loves white orchids, and it's like a thing. Beautiful, beautiful character development. The chair drop right at the top, very funny visual joke. I want to meet this dude that plays Roy Kent. He seems like such a genius physical comic and like so good at those voices, and like he's just, goddamn, he's mastered this character. Have some pride in your shirt or don't fucking wear it is a great just summarizing of sport. Diamond Dogs together. Ted goes against the group because of the talk with the therapist that firms it up, but they're all having talk. Only one votes up, and that's Higgins. The rest vote down. You can see his brain churning, and then the last talk of the therapist locks it in. Roy fucking Kent. The Freemason Disney throwaway line was so funny. Like, he doesn't trust Freemasons, conspiracy, Disney, all that line. The throwaway jokes here are better than most shows' key jokes. That Freemason joke was hilarious, and it was just throwaway. Heavy is the head that wears the visor, and there's Tart back in the team. As soon as she says that, you know that's the decision he's going to make, and boom, there he is back on the team. Layers in that Prince of Tides being her favorite book. Oh, I didn't realize the Dubai Air setup was at the end of this episode. They mentioned the Dubai Air thing that happens the next episode at the end of this one. She says she got in the gig. Did not catch that the first time. That she got the gig in episode 2. It lands in episode 3. Haha, the water basket, no sugar. What do you get someone that doesn't like sugar? Apparently just water. Very funny joke. Tart is back. No, Sam. I love this show. I do write I love this show pretty much every 5 minutes, but I do close out the episodes saying I love this show. All right, let's check on some notes. Football is life, but also death, but also football. Roy has been the star this season. They're doing such good work with him. I totally agree. Me and AJ Lancaster are on the same page. Okay, episode 3. I read a lot of notes, so I'm just reading through them quick. So we're already at minute 25 of this review. We're almost at the length of an episode of review. I always say there's going to be 20 minutes, and I always write too many notes. All right, episode 3. All right, first ep after I saw these two amazing ones a month plus back. Oh, this new girl is great. Sassy Smurf, is she mine? I love that Ted briefly thinks that might be his kid, even though she's a full-ass, 12-year-old, and they had sex 6 months ago. I love that pure innocence. 6 years of wishes, spoiling in kid episode, what will the lesson be? So I'm like, 6 years of wishes, there's a spoiled child. Clearly, we're going to learn a lesson. What will the lesson be? Haha, he's so eager to please. It was fabulous. I love, the idea of Ted Lasso in the bedroom is just, golly gee shucks, but also super eager to please, and how lovely that would be for someone that's not treated well. Such good character development. Jamie Tart's path to redemption begins in this episode. The apologies to our locker room. Wait, what is this? Oh, the apology tour in the locker room. I love Jamie just addressing all the things he fucked up and thinking just I'm sorry is enough. On a lesser show, just saying I'm sorry might have been enough. This isn't a speed to the end Disney football movie. This is, sorry is not real life going to be enough. I love that he tries to just do the apology tour and it's not enough in the locker room. And it's also really good comedy writing to see what a dick that guy is. It brings Jamie Tart back to our forefront. It endears us to new characters. It balances a lot of the responsibility of the weight of the comedy. Really good stuff. Oh, she's trying. Very, very cute to see the little girl trying and playing around with our lead. That's it. Take your time. I wish I could move like that. I love the hips scene where Jamie Tart's being a dick, but also they're supporting him. Very funny with all the coaches. We will learn lessons alongside Jamie Tart. This season, Jamie Tart is going to be our eye line because he's learning to be less of a dick. People are sometimes dicks. We're going to learn with Jamie how not to be a dick, I think, this season as he hip chassés across. Americans' innate sense of triumph, however misguided, was a genius line about American Girl dolls. Our innate sense of triumph, however misguided, makes our dolls better than English dolls. Very funny, very true, Americans. We got some instincts. Oh no, Proud Sam is crushed. The ramifications. Corporate evil in sports is very interesting addressed on Apple TV. I was very impressed with Apple TV addressing certain things on Mythic Quest and also now addressing oil and corrupt governments and all these things when Apple is such a major studio, a major Silicon Valley player. Very interesting to see it on this network. Thank you for setting boundaries. I love the line where Roy is saying no to the little girl and she thanks him for setting boundaries. The commentary in The Modern Child is fascinating. Roy literally says, just take them with you, make them feel like you're just along for the ride. Stop babying your kids. I think that's so important in real life, actually, and I love how they handle that in the show. They just want to feel like they're part of our lives, little idiots. Oh, you want to come to the podiatrist with me? Genius. It's such a great 2-minute thing to really catch up on what modern parenting could and should be. They're hanging out at work. That's so sweet. She wants to go there as soon as she started running a football club. She wanted to go. I love this arc for her, this maternal arc. Keely's dating app / the youth perspective is a great angle for the show to develop the characters and further the plot with both Keely and the little girl. Never share a cloud. Digital intimacy seems insane. Jamie Tart's, I'm going to buy the whole team PS5s. What better way to spend money than on love is actually really funny, and he would totally believe that. And I know a lot of people that would. It's really funny that, that would kind of work for some people. And also, I think Jamie's authentically thinking he's doing the right thing. Led Tasso. Now, Led Tasso is actually the original Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso, the character, is based on a commercial, a series of commercials from 10 years ago that Jason Sudeikis was in, and he was a dick at first. So Led Tasso is actually Ted Lasso OG. Jason Sudeikis getting back into the original Ted Lasso is Led Tasso, if that makes any sense. So Led Tasso is Jason Sudeikis getting to embody the first draft of this character. He's so much better wholesome. He's so much more fun. The show is way more interesting because of it. It wouldn't exist. It'd be very one note with Led Tasso or the old Ted Lasso. I love that they got to incorporate what the character was into what he is now. It felt like a what if. It felt like a variant. It felt like Spider-Man meeting Ben Reilly. Loved it very much. Nora's reaction to Sam. I love Nora's little crush on Sam. Money talks into pull out of the biggest sponsor for integrity. They up the stakes. So they're talking about money. They're talking about how they're paying the team a championship, a higher rate for a championship team. And then he comes in and says they got to pull out their biggest sponsor, and the integrity is more important. So they immediately agree to it, upping the stakes of the whole show. And then they up it even more with the Dubai Air situation. There's Led Tasso. Start touching each other's toes. Very funny line. Stop doing things the right way. One step closer to doing everything the wrong way. It's not a great lesson, but it's a very interesting, important one. He's not wrong, but he's not handling it right because he's Led Tasso. Now, are they doing this to unite against Jamie? Unite against Led with Jamie. Exactly what they end up doing. Everyone unites against Led. They see with Jamie, and Jamie gets a little closer, still not all the way. He finally cements it in by being the first white dude on the team to put the thing over Dubai. But I love that we break in slowly, more realistically than an apology, more realistic than just one thing. It takes like 5 things to get the team to believe in Jamie again, which is more like real life. Tim Burton movie, any Tim Burton movie, even Dumbo. Very funny lines coming out of Led Tasso. And now we see Rebecca Welton's boss mode. Rebecca, that's the character's name. Rebecca as boss mode is so much fun. Her empowerment, her maternal nature, her mama bear, plus all the other stuff. I really love Rebecca this season. It doesn't matter, you're back now, haha. Spelling the plan out to the doc is fantastic. Sometimes you have to do the right thing even if you lose. I love this lesson. I think that's the lesson of the episode. There's a bunch of lessons, but you have to do the right thing even if you lose. This show is a masterclass in comedy, in physical comedy, and lessons learned. I just love it. Roy Kent Pundit is delightful. Jamie would love to just talk about himself. This is going to be fun. Jamie in therapy is going to be fun because he would just love to talk about himself. I'm going to insult something and then try it because I'm a good friend. Again, more lessons. Rebecca doing her friend's thing and also secretly wanting to do it. She's going to insult it, then try it. Something you got to do for your friends sometimes. Look at this team uniting. That's how Jamie becomes part of the team. He's the first white boy because we got to wear the same kit. He's uniting. He sees the team lesson. The Nigerians do it first because of Nigeria being the country that's being ripped apart. He does it because they're all on the same team. Beautiful teamwork. Baby Shark song has returned with Jamie. Tart do 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 do. Boss ass bitch. Exactly. They call it right out. Not a metaphor. Literally. Ted has his bike from the jump. And then when bad things happen to people like me, y'all tend to write about it without being asked. That is a great, great, tiny version of the big problem of white privilege, is just when white people have things happen to them, people write about it and not always everyone else. That is a great way to suss it up. Ted has Sam's back from the jump, and then he gives Sam the mic. Sam doesn't want to talk about football. He wants to talk about the real situation, and it gets really intense in a hurry. And they broke the tie streak by losing, so the team celebrates because they're supporting their boy Sam, and the group pick is adorable. All right, that was episode 3 of Ted Lasso Season 2. We got one left to go. The snapback to reality is so damn good. I totally agree. I just came in and thought y'all were talking about the Chris Tucker classic Money Talks. But anyway, Danny Rojas. Amaru, I love that I love that you thought we were talking about Money Talks. That's amazing. But Danny Rojas, though. Amaru! Welcome, man. All right, last episode, episode 4. This week's episode, this last Friday's episode. Remember, in 4 weeks, we're going to do the next 4. This is episode 4. We're going to do 5, 6, 7, 8 in 4 weeks. But first, episode 4, Christmas bottle episode. Let's get into it. Ooh, bottle episode. Pause while stakes are insane. If you think about it, Dubai, the big investor, that's a big stake. The geopolitical ramification, Jamie going into therapy is a big stake, Ted starting to crack with the doc, all that's a big stake, and then we get a little bottle episode. So I'm curious about how big things feel when we get back. Roy just started a job as a pundit. Everything's about to shift or has shifted. What's going to be like when we get back? The sweetest characters on TV, I can wrap it around my booze. I love all supporting characters. I love how much they all support each other. Very precious. They're tied at wins and losses. They quickly show the board. So since we last saw them, this Christmas episode, they're now tied at losses with their ties at wins, and they're tied at ties, so they're still tied at tied. Very funny visual joke. I love Coach and Beard's relationship woes. I love that Christmas is, a really hard time for emotions, so they really can bring out these emotional cores of the characters. Sexy Christmas is really funny, the whole diatribe, and then how it lands. Her coming to the door in that beautiful onesie, and like the little girl and him not getting the text and him not noticing. All very funny. Really enjoy Sexy Christmas. Also, Rebecca coming in, talking about Sexy Christmas because they obviously clearly had their girl talk. Again, this show trusts you to have intellectual jokes that you can keep up. It trusts you to be able to plot that things happen off camera. It does it very, very well. Team fix Jamie's secret Santa. It's hard to say. I love that they all jump in to help Jamie because he's just gotten on the good side of the team. He's also a piece of shit that won't think of other people. So I love the team effort to make him better. The dichotomy of Elton John and Orphan Christmas is a beautiful thing to show between Higgins and Rebecca, and also how the show ends with Higgins being such an angel. I didn't know I needed an Xmas special, but by golly, I did. Sexy December 28th, the sexiest of all the days, great line. Higgins' family is the most precious. Of course, Sam is the first to show up at Higgins's. What does Xmas make you think of? Colonization, haha. Great fucking line. Again, walking that line, but really making joke work with us addressing some real shit. This bad breath scene is a comedy masterpiece. What did he do? Where does Bernard live? Her gagging, his eyes watering, I think he might be dying. All of this. Masterclass in comedy. So fucking funny. Stupid posh neighborhood looking for dentists. Genius. Sam with keeping Santa, his endurance is peak soccer. I love that he'd reference soccer stuff. I love that Sam wants people to believe in magic. I love that Sam believes in magic. I love him being a good big brother figure. I love all of this for Sam. This character has so much growth this season. They're giving him so much to do, and that scene was just lovely. Everyone party at Higgins. Poor Ted, don't watch It's a Wonderful Life alone. Xmas vibe. We're now adding buskers. I think of buskers with Christmas. I love that we're bringing in, at the very end especially, we're bringing in some bigger movie vibes. Haha, so rich. She's just throwing money at the buskers. I think it's funny. The line, taking a tinkle next to John Holmes is really funny. So you have to know, John Holmes was a porn star, big dick. He's taking a tinkle. He's throwing a little bit of money. She's got big money, big dick money. Very funny, all in one little line. Very good. 3 weeks ago, punchline Roy Kent. So good. So Roy Kent's telling a story to a little girl to make her feel better, saying he had too much dairy and he shot himself. Ended the story there, and then Keeley goes, finish it? And he says, 3 weeks ago. And then the little kid in the house hears his hero, Roy Kent, that he pooped himself, and he said, I sometimes do that too. And then we get a wholesome message saying, let's try and knock that off, shall we? If I can do it, if you can do it, I can do it. Cool. He makes him the one following the kid's lead. He makes himself the one that's going to follow his lead. He makes... What good writing. Also, just the goodness of all working together. Stop pooping yourself, I'll stop pooping myself. If you can do it, I can do it. Roy Kent. Goddamn. Nerf War Higgins. They're playing Santa with that soccer money. So precious that Rebecca's taking stuff to people that don't have. She's helping people that are in want. Love that. The wholesome message, then Nerf War, then that Hey! Maybe? Okay, apparently I lost you guys at Nerf War. I'm gonna go back to Nerf War. Yeah? I think we're back. I think we're here. I'm going to wrap this out because I think we're back. Okay, I'm going to go back to Nerf War. Okay, they're playing Santa with that soccer money. I love that Rebecca is being the anti-Scrooge. She's using her money to help people in want. I love that that's what's making her happy. I love the growth of that character. I love that that's what Ted gets to end up doing. That's going to make Ted happy. I love the playing Santa. I love the Nerf War happening. I love the beauty of Roy using his cool to make a kid empowered. All of that is prime Ted Lasso. A month worth of swears we find out is 1,000 pounds. There's this great throwaway line when you get to the 10th house before they say, Roy Kent, you a dentist? All of that. She says 1,000 pounds is like a month worth of swearing. That means he swears about 1,000 times a month in front of the little girl. Very funny throwaway line. You a Roy Kent, you a dentist. Boom. Funny, quippy exchange. You can't make her get rid of the cat, and then of course they don't. Beautiful, wholesome moment. They use the surfboard to pan back out of the show to show the entire family. I love the surfboard. I love the ingenuity. I love the Higgins. I love the family. This is a wholesome moment in the moment of all wholesome moments and the most wholesome show and the most wholesome of holidays in this context. And then we get the love actually moment to complete the whole goddamn thing. And then the message of that arc is do better, spelled clearly out for the little boy. Don't be a bully, don't be a dick, just do better, just be better. All we can ever hope for is to do better. You, dear viewer, just do better, just be better. Love actually that shit. Have a very wholesome Christmas. And then to the family, we're born with and to the family we make along the way. Beautiful message, and end it with Buskers, Love Actually, Buskers, Wholesomeness, Christmas, family. You're goddamn right, I love this show. Ted Lasso, season 2, up in the game. AJ, I'm glad we got to close this out. I refreshed the page and we're back. This show is incredible. I love it dearly. I'm excited to do 5, 6, 7, and 8. So in 4 weeks, we'll be back with season 2, part 2, with the middle of the season. It's a 12-episode season. We'll be back in 4 weeks with season 2, part 2. And then apparently at some point, maybe money talks. Amaru, it was good to see you in here. AJ Lancaster, thank you so much for being a patron. Thank you for sponsoring these not watch-alongs. That's Michael McCarcel. Mike McCarcel's also in there. Thank you for sponsoring these reviews. I love doing them. And thank you for turning me on to Ted Lasso. It is truly my favorite show on the air. That's because of you, good sir, and I am loving Apple TV. If Apple TV is watching this, thank you, Apple TV, for existing. That is going to do it, you lovelies. AJ, thank you. People watching Ted Lasso, thank you. Just do better. Just be better. It's all we can do. Be more like Ted Lasso. All right, much love, guys. I will see you tomorrow for Coycast. I will see you on the internet, on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter all the time. I will see you next Tuesday for more Coy Cubed. I'll see you in 4 weeks for more Ted Lasso. I will see you in 2 weeks for My Hero Academia Season 3, the finale, the whole rest of My Hero Academia. And I'll see you at the end of the month for a watch-along with Michael McCarcel. Lots of stuff coming at you at all times. So much love. Like, subscribe, comment, tell your friends, tell your mom, give her a hug. All right, appreciate it, guys.